Yo, 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 yo. Welcome back to the RTN Overtime Podcast. Welcome to Season 2. What episode are we on?
4.
All right. We had taken a break for, obviously, Christmas and the holidays, but we are back now. Welcome to Episode 4. We have Sam, Prince, and Thomas, and boy, do we have a couple topics today. NBA and football. We on the eve of the Super Bowl, and we got a lot of NBA stuff to talk about. But first, we got big things happening at Rowan. First off, the men's basketball team are on an 11-game win streak. Last night, Marcellus Ross scored, not last night really, but last game, Marcellus Ross scored 27 points, and the team is currently 15-0 in the conference. Most likely will be hosting the NJAC conference at the SB, and we'll be heading to the NJAC finals because let's say what it is. That team is dominant. As well as basketball, there's the men's swimming team. They fall at the Merchant Marine 207-87. And we got a couple players that just hit the 1,000-point club. Nicole Mallard and Grace Marshall, both seniors, hit 1,000 points. And the women's team is on a 7-game win streak, 15-7 overall record, and an 11-4 conference record. Yo, our team is killing it.
A bunch of dogs on, especially the men's team.
Yeah,
they're kind of in a weird space, and I think they overcame that adversity because early in the season they were kind of struggling to get a rhythm and kind of you have so many scorers in their team. They're like, okay, what are we gonna do? But what really came out is Jazeer Noel leading the NJAC in scoring.
Yeah,
and he kind of brought the whole team together. And the biggest thing for the biggest this stretch was when Stretch went down with his knee injury, this whole team kind of joined all together. And then for the women's team, they're so deep.
They were inconsistent in the beginning, and then they figured it. They finally figured they got that 7-game win streak. They've been beating up on everybody, bro. They're number one in scoring. Yeah,
for men's team, they're now 20. They're number 25 in D3. And I don't think it's going to be that much longer till the women's team gets ranked too. So it's a great time to be a prof.
Yeah.
What do we think of, boys?
I just think it's phenomenal. I just took a look. 95 points for a college men's team that's pretty insane. And when you take a look at some of these players, it's just unbelievable the amount of sheer talent that a school like Rowan could have. And 11 straight wins, 19-3 total records. So just keep on rolling. If you're Rowan, just keep on rolling. Even the women's team too.
You have a men's team who suffered 2 horrible losses, shockers, losing by both 1-point losses. Beginning of the season, you go 0-2. Then you go 18-1 the rest of the season so far, and you are on a roll, including a 15-game win streak. And yesterday they beat Keene. It was a thriller, by the way. If you guys were in attendance right there, I was working the game for Rowan Radio right there in the studio. But when you were watching it, that unfortunately it ended their streak of 10-plus games and winning by 15-plus points, double digits right there. And also, 15 double digits, my fault on there. I don't know what. Also, they're undefeated in the NJAC.
Oh, yeah, no, they're clearly the number 1 seed. Earlier in the year, back in January, it was when Stockton came in. It was going to be there was 2 really big games. There was the Kane game, and they won that one. And then the Stockton game,
they blew them out.
They blew them out.
Their toughest task is against Butler State.
Which is going to be senior night, which is going to be the biggest game of the season.
Well, yeah, all these tune-ups with Kane and especially Stockton was supposed to be the XP was packed. Everyone was waiting for it. They blew them out by 40. I was calling that game, and I was just making jokes at a certain point while I was doing color, and I said one joke. One guy got his ankles broken. And I said that's the type of ankle breaker where you tell your friends it was the floor, not you.
But the men's got NJCU next up. That's a winnable game, but NJCU's kind of tough. They fight. Then they got Rutgers Newark, which they'll probably blow out, and then they got Montclair State with the 15th, and then they'll start the NJAC tournament the 18th of February 18th on that Saturday. So it's gonna be a good last 3 games. I think they're definitely on the way to be perfect. They're most likely going to go 18-0 because I don't see anybody beating them. But that was our Rowan report. Now let's get to the good stuff. NFL. A certain man has retired and a certain man came back. We're going to talk about the retirement first. The GOAT, Tom Brady, has walked away for the second time. And I ain't going to lie. I ain't believe it at first. I ain't going to lie. I didn't. I was telling everybody, Tom Brady's about to become the modern day Brett Favre. Like, he's going to continue to play, and we're going to see this dude with gray hair looking like our great-grandfather.
I think the reason why I knew this one was certain was I think a clip came out, and I could be wrong with this, but I think he said, I didn't leave my wife and kids to lose to Derek Carr at the half. I was like, yeah, he's definitely retiring after this one.
That has to be a clip. That has to be a fake clip. That's hilarious.
That's fake.
Hilarious.
That has to be fake.
I think it's fake, but like it also has a good point.
It's hilarious, don't get me wrong, but it's just, and that was the running joke for a while, is that, yo, you left Giselle to continue to play football and do what when you accomplished everything that has to do in football, which brings us kind of to our discussion today. Where do you rank him in the GOAT category in all sports? Like, because you got Jordan, you got Woods. I'm just going to throw a couple names out there. You got Serena, Ali.
Michael Phelps.
Simone Biles.
She did gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
Well, he's definitely past football. I think we can all say that. So
yeah, he's past football.
He's sort of in that like Michael Jordan, I would say, sort of category, because Michael is 6, he has 7. I think he actually might be above Michael just for the sheer fact that, okay, ready? 6 Super Bowls with New England, 1 with Tampa Bay. Phenomenal quarterback. He was never really great at anything. He didn't have a great arm. He didn't have great mobility, but he was always very good at something. And he won. And he took pay cuts and the numbers in the playoffs and, carrying the 2011 Patriots, which was a poor defense, the 2017 Patriots, another poor defense. So I think he's right up there with Michael. I think you can make a case that he's even better than him.
I'm going to add one more nugget to your list. He only had a Hall of Fame receiver once. Only one. That was Randy Moss.
Yep. And
He's only
Gronkowski.
Gronkowski.
And Mike Evans.
Mike Evans is in the Hall of Fame, bro.
Mike, don't be surprised if he squeezes it.
Yeah, no.
That's a hot take.
With his like seasons that he had early in his career, I think he's enough. But yeah,
he's consistently.
But in his 20-some years, that's 3 like elite talents. Like he made Chris Hogan a superstar when he was in
no one ever heard of Dammy and a dog
or Julian Edelman.
Yeah, Wes Welker.
Wes Welker's a dog and he was good at anywhere. But Sam, what are you thinking?
He's not the G of all goats.
Okay.
He's not the G? All right, break it down.
The G of all goats is the man, the myth, him legend, Wayne Gretzky.
Are we going hockey? I forgot about that.
Yeah, we're throwing hockey in there.
I don't pay attention enough to hockey, but break it down. Tell me why Wayne Gretzky is the G.
Look, he may not have the championship, says Brady, but he single-handedly turned franchises around. He did it with the Oilers, and he did it with the Kings. It was one of the most demanding sports. And he doesn't... Yes, football, it's a little more... Sometimes, look, there's more of a series in hockey where football's one and done. He'd have played more games in the playoffs than Brady.
Wouldn't that be more tougher, though, since football's one and done? And he was able to win?
And he has the most goals and points of all time, Gretzky.
That's always a topic about. I've always struggled to kind of like find an answer of like what's harder, like the one and dones, like the March Madness, or like being consistent for trying to win 4 games out of 7.
I think one and done.
I think the one and dones are tougher too.
Yeah, because if one and done, like how many times we've seen great teams get beat, and just
especially in college basketball because you just get like 12s over 5s, 13s over 4s, but even football too, you may get a 6 over a 1.
How many times we picked
Tennessee?
How many times we picked Duke or Kentucky to go to the Final Four national championship?
And they lose in the Sweet 16. Yeah,
exactly. That's the point of the one and done. It's like it adds more a layer of surprise and shock. It's like that's where it counts to the football aspect. Like he was supposed to win a lot of games. Well, they've always predicted to win a lot of games as the Patriots, but sometimes they get knocked out in that championship round where they were supposed to win or in that divisional round.
And I also think that Brady taking pay cuts early in his career, I think, gets underlooked because New England was able to put players around him And that's why they win so much. You know, you take a look at all these guys now, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Dak Prescott, Kyler Murray, a lot of these big quarterbacks, they have these big contracts, and rightfully so, because
They deserve it.
yeah, you're only in the league for about 15 years, maybe.
If you're good.
lucky. If you're lucky.
The average is 3 years.
Right. So you need to get your money and then get out. So I don't blame guys for getting their money, but I will say this, Tom Brady taking pay cuts continuously, and, you know, with the supermodel wife, he kind of can. But
Yeah, well, I mean, it's incredible because he took pay cuts and his starting salary was not a lot because he was a 6th-round pick. But for my pick for GOAT of all GOATs, I got to go Ali. Got to go Ali for that one. You know, he said it himself, I am the greatest. I mean, beating every opponent that he made boxing and combat sports what they are today. There would be no UFC or in anything like in the world if it wasn't for Ali making combat sports that entertaining. I mean, the promos he would cut, he was like the first boxer to cut amazing promos.
I think he might have been the first boxer truly to cut promos. Like,
Yeah.
nobody could do it better than Ali.
And they're electric. I mean, the amount of like people that he influenced. I mean, there'd be no Floyd Mayweathers, there'd be no Manny Pacquiao's, there'd be no Tyson Furies or Deontay Wilders.
Well, I'll tell you what, Manny Pacquiao was never a talker. Floyd, definitely, it wouldn't be no Floyd because Floyd took all the promo skills from Ali and just added the extra layer being that cocky and money, like that money dude too. So he added that same thing with Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder. Like Ali was the trash talker of all trash talkers in boxing, and he just
everyone believed it too.
Yeah.
He would say something like, "Yeah, that's probably gonna happen. He's probably gonna knock him out."
yeah.
So he's my goat of goats, just because of like obviously he was the greatest when he did it and the best heavyweight of all time. But when the influence that he had on a sport to just blow it up to the way it was,
Not just a sport, a nation.
I don't think, and also he was a huge activist as well. I don't think any other sport compares to this one single person having that big of an impact on it compared to anything else.
That's a fair point.
I'm gonna go someone different. I like the Ali pick, even though in retrospect, Ali is my number one goat of goats. I'm gonna go Tiger. I'm gonna throw Tiger Woods in there.
I can't be mad at that. I cannot be mad.
Only because from my personal experience, I don't care about golf at all. And the only reason I did care is because Tiger Woods was golf, and it's not rare you see a lot of black people play golf. So seeing Tiger Woods play golf, he won. I don't know how many championships he has in total. I feel like he's definitely in the double digits, like 16 or 15 or something around there.
black golfers are a lot like white rappers. When you just bring them up, you all think of one guy.
Yeah, pretty much. And like he doesn't have the all-time record. He still has to catch the all-time record leader, which is Jack Nicholson.
Yeah.
But Tiger to me is up there for goats. It's like
Because his run was incredible.
especially that last Masters one.
His prime when he just went on that run of I think it was like a decade of greatness.
A decade of greatness, and obviously he had. And I'm not gonna say he had controversy too. Like he did have some stuff, and obviously the last couple of years he had the accident. And then the accident was he already declining before the accident, and then when the accident happened, it was just he hit rock bottom in terms of the athletic ability and his skill.
I think it's also, you brought up a great point where like certain GOATs, it may not be on-field performance or on-court performance, but it's can you pull a demographic or a certain group of people that may not be interested in the sport in. That's how you know someone's great.
Yeah, Tiger had a huge
He wasn't the
impact.
first black golfer, but he was the first. I think the one that
He's
really
the-
blew up. He's the he blew up.
Yeah, and I mean the amount of people that started just hearing about a black golfer dominating, everyone was like, "Oh, yeah, I hear he's doing what?"
Yeah.
I mean, black, white, Asian, everyone would just hop on to the golf channel and watch that stuff, and he would go off.
And I don't know nothing about golf at all. I was just like, "Oh, Tiger do that." I was just like narrowing my eyes, like what? I was cheering with the crowd. Whatever the crowd was doing, I was doing.
Here's a sneaky pick for GOAT of all goats, and I don't think he's the GOAT of all goats, but an underrated GOAT, Tony Hawk.
Oh yeah.
Underrated
Yeah,
GOAT.
you gotta get up Tony Hawk.
I mean,
Has the greatest game ever.
greatest game ever. No one compares to him, and he's done the most he's invented the most tricks. He's dominated all of his events. Low key going for right there.
And people still don't recognize him.
Exactly. The amount of times all the stories of him getting stopped in TSA. I was like, Hawk, like Tony is like, yeah, no, that's me.
It was like one lady's like, "Oh, do you skateboard?" He's like, "Yeah." Like, "Oh, so does my grandson. Like, he's a big fan of Tony Hawk. Do you know him?" Literally me.
I am Tony Hawk.
If we're talking about underrated goats, we can't leave out Joey Chestnut too. I think we have to bring up Joey Chestnut.
Can I change my pick?
Absolutely.
You can change your post.
He may be more dominant than Brady.
I mean, look, 70. I think it's like 72 is the record.
Yeah.
I mean, it's what a talent that guy is. I think he's only lost like 2-3 times, but every other time, like he'd win by margins of like 30, and it's just he's so much talent. Like I can't believe he spends his entire life every single day prepping for one day of the year. And like, I mean, the amount of, in fact, he's not in terrible shape too.
He looks good.
The fact that he can eat 72 hot dogs and still look like that is amazing.
You know, I would love to just get his blood work after one of those events and just see how high his cholesterol is.
Do you think he starves before?
No, you don't. You can't starve yourself. You have to train it because I've done several deep dives into this stuff because as anyone would do when they want to learn about the goat.
Absolutely.
So what you do is you have to have I think you have to eat on a schedule because you want to train the stomach because it's like starting a car. Like if you just like have nothing in the system and it's completely stopped and you just start scoffing down 70 hot dogs,
you're gonna throw up.
You're gonna die. It's not gonna be good. So you have to train it and kind of keep it active. So it's always going. So the metabolism's always firing all on cylinders. And I think that's how we prepare for it.
He's trained his whole life. I mean, every 4th of July you tune in to see Joey Chestnut just to go to work.
How do you guys think he got into that stuff? Like,
I guess it's kind of like just a regular eating contest in general. Like a local neighborhood probably do an eating contest, and then he comes back regularly, wins, and more people start to talk about it. And now you know he's the GOAT, Joey Chestnut.
You'd be shocked at how niche certain things are in the world. And to his point, like he may have just kept winning early on. And even though it is pretty odd, he just kind of hit the ground running and just kept on doing it. And now I think he's probably the most dominant athlete of
oh no! Don't point even
of our
no,
generation.
he's an athlete, and I will stand by that.
Oh,
he's the peak of man.
Let me find how many men could eat 72 hot. How many people can eat 72 hot dogs without killing themselves?
Yeah, I mean,
I can't even eat.
Have you
20.
have you guys ever done the food challenge? Because I've done.
I have
done
not.
the wings.
What?
I've done a wing challenge.
Oh.
I was just like, I gave up at the 5.
My
I quit at the 5 wings. I said this ain't for me.
when I was younger, I had like no money. Do you guys know what Bubba Coos Burritos is?
Mm-hmm.
So, for my brother's birthday, I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna pay for you to do the challenge." I paid like $20. It was probably the worst birthday my brother had. He was suffering for about 5 hours after that challenge. It was.
Now you gotta do it too.
I want to. I really want to.
There's a food challenge down the shore in Monmouth Beach. It's an ice cream shop. They have this. It's called the Octopus, and you get 8 scoops of ice cream, and you have to eat it in 8 minutes.
I don't think I could do it. Like I have a sweet tooth. I couldn't do it that much. But like if it's like a big burger or like a massive.
See, I'd rather do the ice cream personally. I love ice cream.
I love it too, but too much I would die. But I need something savory if I'm going to do it for long periods.
I also want to do a wing challenge.
It depends on what type of wings you get, but boy, them wing challenges is tough.
Josh, let's do it together.
No, I can't. I don't eat like that. No.
How about if I do it, will you come watch me?
I would train. I would be there to coach you and support you.
Okay,
let's do it.
I have another option, Sam. Since you're by far the most famous out of the 4 of us, how about you leverage your fame to do the hot ones to have a hot ones interview?
You know what, Kobe, that is on my bucket list to do. I would love to go on the hot ones
because that's like my opinion is that's the level of fame I would want to reach. I don't want to reach any higher past than guy that got interviewed by Sean Evans. Like he'll pull out the most niche things about me.
If you get interviewed by Sean Evans, you are on the peak of A-list celebrities,
and that's what I want to reach. If you ever find yourself in New York and you get that interview, I will be there. I'll be there for you.
So who's gonna be there with me? Kobe?
I'll be there too. Just to see.
I'll show up.
Just to see.
I'll show up.
I'll be eating the hot wings behind the camera because it's not going to be about me. I'm just going to be dying behind.
No, what would they even ask me? You think?
I was just a lot of just niche Giants questions.
I don't think you would. I think they would find so much stuff. I don't think it would just be about Giants.
He like doxes people basically to get interviews. We're so off topic early. I love it.
I think he would like find like that I collect Pez and ask me about my Pez collection.
that he would do that. Let's try to get in some direction on this podcast because I'm having a great time.
All right. We're going to move on to the other man that made his return in the NFL.